Every Friday, he's brought to you by Steam Fitters Local 601. Learn more by visiting steam601.org and by the National Fire Sprinklers Association. Visit them at nfsa.org. Good morning, Wayne. How are you? How was your
Good morning, guys.
From Detroit? What time did you get in?
Well, home here about 3 o'clock. Not bad.
3 a.m. 3 a.m. Look at you.
Yeah.
Sipping
I mean, I got in just as Butch was getting in,
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Well, you're used to this life. This is the life that you guys, as part of the broadcast team, go through, right?
Yeah. Sometimes you have late nights, and that was one of them last night. Yeah.
So, how should a Packer fan feel this morning, do you think? What would your mood be if you were a pure fan? Obviously, you do want the team to do well, but you're not a true fan. You're an announcer. What do you think the fans should feel like after this game?
I think they should feel very good about the effort. Disappointed about the fact that they didn't get off to a better start in that ball game. And I think from a residual standpoint, that had an impact on the end of the game. But no, I think the Packers showed that they are a better team than they were on November 3rd, and they cut the gap between themselves and the Lions. Because as you know, I have told you many times, November 3rd was 24-3. That was the difference in the two teams. And last night, that went right down to the wire. I thought the Packers, I mean, you have to be proud of the way they fought through a lot of adversity, some of which was inflicted themselves, but nonetheless, on the road in that environment against a very good Detroit team.
What was your and Larry's reaction when Campbell went for it, not just at the very end of the game, but the fourth and a meaty one at his own 30, up 3?
Yeah, kind of crazy. I mean, it's Dan Campbell doing Dan Campbell kind of things. That cost him the game last year in Detroit when he went for it at about the same position in the field, guys. I think it was 32-yard line. It was 4th and 4. He went for it, didn't get it. The Packers were ready for what they tried to do out of a fake punt situation, and then they scored a touchdown right away. The same circumstance kind of reminded me of that a little bit, but it was 4th and 1. And I thought the Packers really on some of those running plays by the Lions, I mean, they played tough. They played hard. The Lions made 4 out of 5. I get that. But the one they didn't make, the Packers capitalized. And that thing, I think, was a very positive thing. And obviously, it propelled them into the lead.
Wayne, what was your thought on the officiating? It's something that's talked about a lot. Me and Czabe talked briefly about it, but we both felt, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Czabe, but we both kind of felt like that's not where we want to focus on. There was some miss, but there's other areas they could have, been better at too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was a determining factor necessarily in the game. And I say that and caution you on that because I thought the officiating crew was very deliberate. It took forever to get a call out of them. I thought at times it was a little sloppy. But in the end, like the Christian Watson pass interference penalty, that was on the Packers' last drive, forcing them to settle for a field goal to tie the game, and that gave the Lions an opportunity to win it with the field goal. That play, I'm looking at that, I'm saying, gosh, that was technically in the letter of the law pass interference offensively, all OPI, but by the same token, you could tell Watson wasn't trying to set a pick or anything like that. So, but was the officiating bad? I don't think it was bad, but was it great? No, it wasn't one of my favorites.
They really could have used a couple of calls.
Yeah.
Just could have used a
couple. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, I
that
thought
news
so
update. Update from the poll question I put out this morning, Wayne, on my Twitter feed, on the game's Twitter feed, which is, how are you? Vibe check, Packer Nation after the game. Frustrated, furious, fine, or fired up, actually. And I was noting how the furious at the calls was only 14% to start the day. And I'm like, that's good. That's a low number. It got even lower after an hour. But now, Butchie, it's back up again. 17%.
Yeah, that's because everyone that was at the bars waking up. That's because everyone that was having a couple cocktails during the game decided they were going to get up. Exactly.
Here it comes. People are seeing more screen caps as they wake up this morning, getting more and more pissed off before they vote in this. Look, it is what it is. You got to beat good teams on the road soundly and outright, where the referees cannot in any way, shape, or form affect the outcome of the game. How did Jaden Reed get so shut out in this game?
Yeah, I don't get that. He just, it's funny how sometimes in this receiving corps, certain guys will get lost. And, 1 week, Tucker Kraft had like 2 targets, no catches. Reed last night had 1 target, no catches. Christian Watson, 7 targets, 4 catches. Dontavian Wicks, looks like they're getting him on track. That's a good thing. 4 catches and 5 targets. Tucker Kraft. The other thing that about this ball game, guys, is, and again, we said this a couple of weeks ago, it was one of those low snap games for Green Bay. The Packers had 45 offensive snaps in this game.
That's it.
Detroit had 76. So you could say all you want about Dan Campbell and his craziness going for 4th downs. Hey, they made 4 of 5. They converted 4 of 5. They were pretty good on 3rd down, 7 of 15, 46.7%. That's not bad. But when you couple that with 4 of 5 on 4th downs, now you're dominating time of possession, and that's 36-06 to 23-54. That's the ball game. That's a huge part of the ball game.
Wayne, how did you think the physicality of the Packers was? Because I personally thought it was pretty good. It's not one of those things that I looked at and said, wow, they got bullied. I didn't feel that at all during that game.
I agree with you completely. It was not a matter of physicality. I thought the Lions came out with a great game plan defensively. They loaded the box. They manned up on the outside as you knew they would. They played single safety high, and they got to Jordan Love. 1 sack, but how many times was he harassed trying to throw the football in that first half? And thus the numbers in the first half, I think it was 3 of 7 passing as all he was in that first half of play. That was coaching. That was Aaron Glenn taking what he had, knowing he doesn't have the big defensive lineman for a 4-man rush to pressure the quarterback. He had to do it creatively, and he did.
What happened with the fan on the field with LaFleur before the game?
I don't know, because we weren't paying attention to it necessarily, because quite frankly, what happens before the game, you're doing other things, and I didn't hear about it until later in the night. And,
okay.
Yeah.
Do we have the bite? Luddy, you got the bite of LaFleur talking about it. Apparently a fan, not a personnel member on the field for the Lions, got out there and was in the face of a number of Packer players as they were leaving the field for warm-ups, doing throat slash gestures, all kinds of stuff. LaFleur was caught on camera saying some pretty spicy expletive-laden things to the fan, which is him standing up for his players. I got no problem with that, although I'm not sure it's necessarily the best look per se, but I get the instinct, the emotion involved. I just don't know why that. I mean, normally getting on that field is a tightly regulated airspace by the league.
So they're a little bit there. They had their flag, and the fans were on the field holding the flag. And this fan, so that's how they got on the field. And this fan decided it was time for the anthem. Yep. And this fan decided instead of holding the flag, he was going to abort the flag mission, and he was going to go talk some trash.
Go be a fake tough guy.
Go be a fake tough guy. Yep.
Well, that's on the Lions. That's on the Lions.
100%.
It's 100% of the Lions organization. Absolutely. That's on them. You can't allow that. Those are fans that are specially picked to do that national anthem thing. And, no, there's no way that should be happening with them. I thought it was just maybe some fan that got a, field pass for the pregame and got out of hand, got a little emotional, that kind of thing. No, when it's somebody that's doing the flag thing. And those people walked over me I was standing in the end zone, and they were doing their rehearsal, and they all walked by in through me rather than say, excuse me or anything. They were just, I don't know. Yeah, people are people, and boy, oh boy, sometimes I don't have a high opinion of people all the time.
Of people, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
people.
Yeah.
What's the bumper sticker? I tolerate people, but I love dogs.
Yeah, something like that. Exactly.
Here was LaFleur.
Yeah, I've never been a part of something like that. He was talking junk to our players, giving them the throat slash sign. And you're trying to de-escalate it, and then he gets in my face. So I thought it was pretty unsportsmanlike. Like, I've never seen that. I've been on many fields, and usually they police that much better. I thought it was an arrogant fan that, wanted to get in part of the action, and just, I would like to see security or something step in there and get him out of there. Cause it's He shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, there you go. I say let that guy get literally tackled by NFL players. You want to be a tough guy? Okay, here you go.
All this adds is a little Tabasco sauce to what is Detroit and Green Bay right now, though. It's getting
Not
pretty
bad.
spicy between these
Do
two
we really
teams.
need Tabasco sauce at this point? I mean, they've won 5 of the last 6. I think that's enough Tabasco sauce for us.
I know.
But you know what I mean?
heating
Like
up.
it's one of those where it like now all of a sudden you're starting to get a little bit more. They've won 5 of the 6, but I think Packer fans are like, okay, now I'm not really like I don't like the Lions now. I think they've always looked at the Bears. I think because Packer fans for so long have seen them win and beat Detroit for so long that you don't necessarily look at it. Now.
Yeah.
You got Lions fans talking trash. You got them being ultra good. You got Dan Campbell playing the way that he plays. Like Packer fan, that's your challenge right now. It's not the Bears. The Bears are going to bear. The Bears aren't going to hire Jim Harbaugh. Like they're not even going to interview him. Like they're going to do what they do. Like it's the Lions.
How about that story? Can I, for just a moment, I know you guys got to move on and life is good, but how about that story? Kevin Warren last year says to Jim Harbaugh, thanks, but no thanks. We're going in another direction. Really? I mean,
Yeah,
this is
it
why
really is.
since the 85 Bears, that organization has been struggling. Are you kidding me? Kevin Warren, the former Big Ten commissioner, who, as I understand it, from what somebody told me he was going to get fired by the Big Ten anyway. So he's the guy who does that? Really?
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah, well,
I mean, he's got
I think-
Harbaugh
I
wants to come to Chicago. Really?
I know. Well, the thing was, he had obviously been at odds with Harbaugh as the commissioner when Harbaugh was doing what he does in Michigan, pushing the limits, skirting the laws, skirting the rules, right?
Yeah.
But guess what, Wayne? You're right. Now that that's over and he's going to be in the pros and you have a chance to hire this guy and he has a connection to the franchise and he wants to be there,
Yep.
everything washes down the river at that point if you're a smart executive.
If you're smart. Okay.
Right. Or if you're a bureaucrat, but a weak bureaucrat who just wants to hold on to his power will say with a huff, nah, no thanks. And that's what they did. And then they had Flus and then they had to fire him. So we'll see.
Well, anyway,
one more thing about
I don't know if
I'm
that
glad,
was true what somebody told me about the Big Ten.
No, I think
I'm
it's
not gonna
I think
say
it's
that
been
was true or not. But the fact is he wasn't a very popular commissioner of that conference, and I know that for a fact.
Yes.
Well, that's true. And as far as
Yes.
did Harbaugh want an interest in the job, I think that's undeniable. Of course, he would want an
Yes,
interest
he
with
would.
the number 1 pick in the draft and the quarterback, Caleb. Of course, he would. So I'm glad we got our guy in LaFleur. This was the best summary of who is Matt LaFleur. It was from Andrew Whitworth before the game on Amazon Prime. I'm sorry that the audio is not great. Tyler Dunn of Cheesehead TV was able to, now he's of GoLongTD.com. And Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Tyler grabbed it. Take a listen.
He's the defensive coordinator because they needed to fix the defense and went out and got Jeff Hafley, and you see how this defense is playing. And then offensively, you get Josh Jacobs in free agency, and you build an offense around him, continuing to grow and adapt to who you have and how you be at your best. It wasn't that long ago we were talking about who is Matt LaFleur when Aaron Rodgers leaves the Green Bay Packers. Well, Luke Getsy's been fired twice, Nathaniel Hackett's failed twice, and Aaron Rodgers has 4 wins in 2 years as a Jet. Matt LaFleur, at worst, has 9 wins 2 seasons in a row. He's won a playoff game. I think we know exactly who Matt LaFleur is, and that's a hell of a football coach.
Wow. Mike drop.
That was great.
Sorry that Getsy and Hackett had to take some strays there, but facts are facts, Wayne.
Yeah, no, I mean, that says it all. Andrew Whitworth. By the way, I don't know how much of Amazon you watch, but their pregame show and postgame show is outstanding. It is the best.
Pretty good.
Business. It is really good. Really good discussions. And Carissa does a great job. Carissa Thompson, an old colleague of mine on Big Ten games. She does a wonderful job of orchestrating that whole thing. And they are really good. Richard Sherman, the quarterback,
Fitzpatrick, yeah.
Fitzpatrick, yeah. He's great. That's a very good show. And that was an excellent quote from Andrew Whitworth. I think it sums things up pretty well about Matt LaFleur and what he's done in Green Bay.
Yeah, well, Carissa is the next gaucho, like yours truly. UC Santa Barbara is in the house, Wayne.
You got it. Nothing wrong with UC
right.
Santa Barbara.
All right, Wayne, as always, a pleasure. Go get some sleep when you're done. Thank you, my friend.
All right, guys, have a good one.